Great, guys. Welcome back to Being 40 at 40. Frank Mola and Venus Chango right here on the set. Guys, you know, it's really amazing. We've come from a long way. We are here and we still have a very long way to go with you guys, okay? Now, let's have a conversation today around friendship. And some guys are drilling some things behind, but you know, it's part of the show, it's part of the set and everything else. These are, we love it. Different venue, different locations. Guys, let's talk about friendship today. How do you define friendship? Who is your friend? How many friends do you have? And from teenage, as you get to your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, what does friendship seem to you and how do you define it? That is what we're going to be talking about today. It's all about friendship, but also we want to thank you and thank you once again for being with us, for liking the show, for subscribing and also sharing and also for your inbox, guys. We really appreciate it and thank you very much. We'll be talking about friendship. Venus, what's your definition of friendship?
In one word, bond, you know?
Okay.
That is brought about by love, common goals, you know? And I think, you know, friendship happens over seasons. Like today, you could be my friend, and maybe a couple of years later, we don't have any common values, so you move on, I move on.
Okay.
But of course, there are those types of friendships that are built, you know, for the future. I can tell you that I have friends I have been in this friendship with for almost 30 years.
Okay.
Like I met them in my early teenage. And
wow.
yes, we are still friends and we still stand by each other. But I realized that, you know, just, you know, reflecting on my journey, you know, of life, I have lost quite a number of friends.
Okay.
And in my 40s, I tend to keep my circle very small, but intimate.
Is that by choice to keep your circle small, intimate, or did it just happen? Because there are guys who say, there are friends who just fall off naturally, you don't realize it. There are friends who just disappear because of different things. So is it by choice when you get to 40, you deliberately and intentionally sit back and say, these are my friends? Or do you choose and say, Frank, you're out, you're out, you're out? How does that happen?
Definitely, I can say number one, it's by choice.
Okay.
That I sit back. Like, for example, you know, we've been talking about the phone, and if the phone was an app, you remember that quote you said, yeah? Maybe people would use it,
if
you know,
if
the brain was an app.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've learned to do is to check, you know, my phone, my contact book on my phone. And I ask myself valid questions. Like, who you, Frank? When did he last call me?
Yeah.
Maybe you gave me your number 3 years ago. Yeah? And clearly, I'm being told how I don't have storage on my phone.
Yeah.
Why am I keeping your number and we are not friends?
Delete.
So I always have this key habit of, like, after every 3 months, I delete phone numbers.
3 months?
Oh, yes. So
You
sometimes you'll find you're looking for me and then you're like, Venus, I gave you my number. I'm like, what? Okay,
I'll delete it.
Yes, you are deleted.
You raise a very interesting point because, and guys, you'll attest to this, right? What I'm saying is, look at your phone book. I bet you 10% of the contacts you have is what you call every other day. Up to 90% are useless contacts, but that's for you to decide. But I'll tell you that's a fact. Now, when we talk about definition of friendship, I mean, it's quite interesting. For me, and I'll tell you, when growing up, everybody was a friend. You know, as a child,
Yes.
everybody's a friend because a child has a pure heart. A child has no grudge or anything with anyone. And that's why you see racism is taught. Nobody is born being a racist. You'll find a child who's an Indian, a European, an African. They're just playing and they just meet and they bond. So at a tender age, people are just friends. And if you look at children, what happens is 1 minute, wamekosana. The next minute,
Wanacheka.
they are laughing at each other.
True.
So, but as it grows, I think something just happens. Each and every stage of life, something changes. And I've realized, out of a number of friends that I had, even in the corporate space, I don't know if I should call my colleagues friends or just colleagues. You understand? But every stage, I think friends, the definition keeps on changing.
Exactly.
It keeps on changing.
Exactly.
I don't know if you've experienced the same or...
I've experienced it, and one thing that I learned, and one thing that I've learned even walking this journey of mental wellness, that it is perfectly all right to let go of some friends.
Okay.
And when we started, I told you, you know, friendship happens over seasons, okay? So there are those friends who will come because probably you're in this space where you are hurting, and they offer you the kind of support that you need.
Yes.
During that time, they remain very valid in your life.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
But after you've healed, you realize there's nothing else that you can talk about. So you quickly move on.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
And one thing that I always say, you know, friendship is part of your own personal growth when it comes to the social circle.
Yes.
And you brought up something very important. When a child is born, they're born as an empty and clean slate.
Okay.
Now the environment comes in and shapes them. That's when you find, like, for us guys in our days, we used to be told usitembe na Frank. Huyo kijana ni mbaya sana. Yes, huyo Otis namuona hapo is a bully.
No, that's an example. That's an example. It's not true. That's just,
So, right out of that statement, I formed a belief system about you, a certain perception.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to friendship cycles, you find that people fall out because you realize you have nothing in common with this person. Probably at some point, they used to be very valid. There's something, there was some commitment, there was some common goals, there was, you used to share values, but not anymore. So for me, once that is out of the picture, I quickly move on without any regrets. If we meet somewhere, yes, we'll say hi, hello, but at the end of the day, I'm never afraid of losing friends. And one thing that I always say, Frank, it's I'd rather have that one or two friends who will go down in that hole, you know, with me than have a group of acquaintances, because most of the guys we have around us are acquaintances who will never benefit me in any way.
You raise an interesting point. Now, there's this thing with ladies, and maybe you can confirm it, is you've not seen somebody for long, and then when you guys just meet, I tend to see ladies say, Mambo, you are lost. It's been a while. We need to catch up here. You have my number, your number? Okay, we'll catch up. I'll look for you. That's just a figure of speech. You guys never look out for each other.
No,
I don't know why people say that, but most people who just bump into each other and say, hey, tumeka, tujaonana, it's been a while. But what happens after that? Tutafutane. It ends there. There's no tutafutana that happens after that.
Let me say this. In my 20s, in my 30s, I used to do that. But in my 40s, I'm very careful about what I say.
Okay.
Yeah? Because at the end of the day, I have to make sure that I follow up. Nikikwambia, Frank, I'm going to call you.
Yeah.
Immediately, I put it down that I should look for you at a certain time. And if you remember very well, because we met, I think, in our late 30s.
Yes.
I mean, you just gave me your number, and then, we kept in touch, and that is what we said we were going to do.
Yes.
So I think, friendship has an element of commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah? So if we meet and I feel like, uyu Frank, kuna venye, I will definitely pursue you, because there's that level of commitment to this kind of friendship that we want to have. But I think most of the time we just, we are just in these circles of acquaintances. Which we end up, frustrated because we think they are friends. And
it's a very interesting thing, because I hear, not I hear, but what you see is when you have nothing, you don't have friends. When you have everything, or people perceive now you're doing well, all of a sudden there's this influx of people coming in and they want to connect, to be connected to you, And most of the people sometimes you don't realize. And because I'm seeing a lot of people glorifying me as Frank, I feel like all these are my friends. Oh, Frank is this, Frank is that. But the moment, there's a shift in what is happening in your life, people just tend to disappear. And the beauty of, I think, the show, when we're talking about being 40, is friendship at 40. When you're 40 years old, and probably the guys, your 20s and your 30s, we're trying to express and let you know that at 40, you have to be very deliberate about your friends. You have to be looking at certain values and principles that people have. There's a level of commitment that somebody must have, because I think, for me now, for you to be a close friend, I would not say a best friend. What are the values? How are we benefiting from each other? It doesn't have to be financial. It doesn't have to be. But there has to be that thing where there's something called decency quotient, right? People talk about IQ, intelligent quotient. People talk about EQ, emotional quotient. But there is DQ, decency quotient. And what that simply means is, are you a good human being? Are you a good person? Venus, if it's at 3 a.m., you are home. Uko, so unasema ni wapi machine?
Uko ushago. Let's just say ushago.
It's 3 a.m. Husband is not there. You need urgent help. Who is that one person you can think of to call at 3 a.m. and come to rescue you? Now, people who tend to go that extra mile, they have something we call DQ, decency quotient. These are decent people. These are nice people. These are people who understand. And these are people who sit back and say, I can do anything for Venus at whatever time. And that's why we always say that, guys, a friend who looks for you after they've done everything, ask yourself if that's a friend. Somebody who looks for you in between their busy time, that might be a good friend.
It's true.
Right?
And just picking up on what you have said, Frank, by the way, you know, life happens and we grow.
Yeah.
Socially, financially, psychologically, all these other, you know, aspects. But, you know, there are two things in life. When you're making it in life, you tend to gain or lose some friends. There are people who can't deal with your ego. The fact that you're growing. So they feel threatened, okay? And it is perfectly, you know, okay to lose such friends because I feel where there's a jealousy element, you know, then I feel very insecure, okay? Then there are friends who will be there with you when you have nothing. Maybe it has to do with that decency, you know, because they're not attaching their commitment to you based on the value, your value, your personal value. It is just that human aspect whereby they say, you know, whether you have it or not, I'm going to be here. I have had friends when I had nothing, they stood with me. They would tell me, Venus, anyway, I can see, you know, and you know, no atipan intended, they're trying to show off how well they're doing. It's just like you cannot suffer when I am here.
Authentic.
Very authentic. I call them, those are the 1 or 2 friends that I say you have to keep in life.
You okay? Okay.
Yeah, whether you have it, whether you don't have it, they are there. They are committed.
It's a good thing. Again, I think at 40 also, what I've come to learn is, and maybe you'll tell me your view on this, we'll have different types of friends. You'll have spiritual friends, you'll have investment friends, you'll have maybe social friends.
True.
Maybe you'll have, what else? You can have partying friends, whichever way. So what, and this one I learned from this gentleman called, he's called Sir Olo. Yeah, Sir Olo, So what he told me was very interesting. They're spiritual friends, that's a circle. They're social friends, that's a circle.
Exactly.
They're investment friends, that's a circle. There's partying friends, that's a circle. Now, each of these circle, when you circulate in each of these friends, there's one in the middle, there's a circle that touches in all those. The moment you identify a friend who's touching on all those circles, that is a genuine friend to have in you. It does not stop you from having a spiritual friend, you can. Social friend, you can. Investment friend, you can. Because you're talking investments. You're talking the Bible or Quran. You're talking social stuff. But all those circles, if there's one person who's touching on all those circles, I've come to learn, and when Sir Olo told me this, I went back and I started drawing the circles. And when I drew the circles and I started looking at my friends, and I would see which ones are completing, touching all these points. And I started to see, wow, this one is more closer to me than the other person, which I found to be a very good exercise. Yeah.
And tell me, Frank, I mean, there's so many types of friends, and you talk about, you know, the circle thing, but what is your view about toxic friends? Because truly, within these circles, we have the toxic friends. Those ones who will pull you down, you know, as opposed to really, you know, bringing out that kind of value that you have in you.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, guys, the way I look at toxic friends is very simple. These are the guys who throw stones at you, and they're very malicious, and they're the people who you're in social media, they're following you, they're not saying anything, they're
monitoring spirits.
They're called the monitoring spirits.
Yes.
They'll always be there, and they make the world, and they make the world go round. But now, never give them power. You hold the power.
Exactly.
It is you.
Exactly.
So what you simply need to do is, as long as you don't pass your power to anybody toxic, you are safe. But remember, when they throw stones at you, build a house.
Wow.
Build a house. Not so many people like
that.
seeing when you're
As
happy.
usual, Frank, yani, hizo my quotes. What I always say is, you have the controls. It's your life
You have the
anyway at the
control.
end of the day.
Yeah.
So thank you. I think our time is up. But I want to say this, I really appreciate all of you who have been following us on Facebook, YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe. We are going on, and of course your feedback has kept us going. We build content based on what you want to hear from us. So please, please, please invite your friends. Whenever you're watching our videos, please help us share on Facebook. Help us share so that we can have the kind of impact that we have. Of course, in our 40s, we have walked a journey. We have failed. We have, we have been hurt. But of course, we are trying to help you not go into those unnecessary dips that we went to. So this is Being 40, and thank you so, so much for always being there.
Thank you very much, guys. Again, for me, my parting shot is very simple. We are sharing our experiences at being 40. We are 40. We are saying how we define friends and friendship at 40. And that's why I said, have your own circles, guys. Draw your own circle and identify who is that friend who's all round covering you. And remember, decency quotient. Decency quotient. Look out for that term. It is very critical, guys. Our right is not the only right. It's all about being 40. It's our story. Until the next episode. See you guys.
This is Being 40.
Thank you.
Hi guys, this is Being 40, and this is the Mind Spa Moment. Now, we've been talking about friendship, and one thing that we always say, using psychology, of course, an approach of psychology is friendship is based on commitment, motivation, and selflessness, okay? And based on that, going by your personality, whether you're an introvert and extrovert, you define friendships in a very different way. For an extrovert, it's about acquiring many friends, but really not having the value. You get your identity, based on the number of friends that you have. For introverts, most of the time, you really don't go out there to look for friends, but the one or two, or probably three friends that you have help you be able to grow through the different stages of life. So my question to you is, are you an introvert or are you an extrovert? Starting there. And secondly, what motivates you in the kind of friendships that you currently have? Do you have motivation to be in those friendship cycles? Do you have a level of selflessness? Because friendship means that you go out of your comfort zone for another person, for the benefit of another person. And are you committed to these friendships? If those three things are operational in your life, then there we go. You have a strong foundation for any friendship. So once again, this is the Mind Spa Moment, and this is Being 40.
Hello guys, again Brutal Facts with Frank Mola. We're talking about friendship, and I know a number of you just know about two Qs, that is IQ and EQ. That is what we call DQ, decency quotient. Decency quotient is all about what are your morals and what are your values. You really need to have this DQ as you think of friends. But I'll tell you one thing, I have a list of different definitions of friends. Probably you're going to fit into one or two of these, and if you allow me, one, friendship supports everything, believes everything, hopes everything, endures everything. Friendship is not easy. Friendship is reaching out to each other in any way and time. Friendship is one of the most precious experiences that life offers us. Friendship is a common thread of our life. True, authentic friendship is the strength of good. Friendship makes it possible to resist loneliness, sickness, and confusion. Friendship is a gift you make to yourself. Friendship is the sharing of secrets and complexity. Friendship is passing together unique moments. Friendship is trust and mutual understanding. Friendship is letting go, guys. Friendship is always being able to rely on the other person. And the list is endless. At Being 40, these are the different ways I'm describing being friendship under Brutal Facts. But remember, guys, and remember, you must always do your 10-10-10 when it comes to your friends. It is a must. It is a must. Ask yourself, if this person is your friend, in the next 10 seconds, in the next 10 minutes, in the next 10 hours, in the next 10 days, in the next 10 weeks, in the next 10 months, in the next 10 years, will this person still become your friend? Is he somebody who's authentic? And importantly, does he or she have the decency quotient, which is morally upright and grounded values? Thank you very much for watching Brutal Facts. We are going back to being 40. Asante sana. And remember, our right is not the only right. Thank you.
Napenda zako simple, simple. Sweet ati njoo karibu nami nikupe penzi kwako nipige kambi mimi nakuenzi bila wezi jiwezi mapenzi si watatu bali ni ya wawili ukiwa mbali penzi nadondokwa na machozi usinipe edeki usinipe ati breki njoo kwangu ma unipe malavidavi wewe ni daktari njoo unitibu nisipate maumivu wangu tabibu kwangu safika na kwambia karibu njoo kwangu ma nikushike taratibu bila aibu ndio manake uko simple napenda njaro zako simple ndio manake uko simple napenda njaro zako simple ndio manake ya sasa ni kumoto ndindo wako mtoto ndio manake ninachohisi ni rojo napenda zako simple simple
mashapiting anytime unadai nimekukufia na siwezi kufufuka nipe vitu mahaba venye unafanya nina feel si kawaida burn calories ni perembe nikali hobby si unajua mi upenda watu kutu don't be shy come let's get naughty na sasa ni kumoto moto nino wako mtoto ninachohisi ni rojo napenda zako simple uko simple